Paul Burgos. So, Paul is the offensive coordinator at Kilgore College. Okay? Coach has 15 years of coaching experience in both high school and college, and led Kilgore to a scoring average of 35.3 points a game this year, and they won the Southwest Junior College Conference this year. Okay? So, the PDS code for this session is JCGS19. So I'll say it one more time, JCGS19. So, if you all would, please join me in welcoming Coach Burgos.
Guys, thank you for being here today. Appreciate y'all coming out early this morning, especially from last night. Some of us happy we had one too many last night, but better wake up and come out here. I appreciate that.
Obviously, this is Coach Paul Burgos. We won the Junior College, Southwest Junior College Conference Championship this year. Averaged about 35 points a game. A little bit of kind of background, the Texas boy through. Played here at Junior College. I played at Kilgore, so become coach of my alma mater. Was kind of a great full circle for me. I was at the 5 years at South Oak Cliff High School, and then another 4 years at Frisco Memorial High School. So been from the suburbs to the inner city, and now from the JUCO ranks. All right, so kind of the big thing here is teaching at the JC versus teaching at a 4-year program. And I think that's the biggest thing, that when coming to coaching, JC is different than whether you go to high school to a 4-year program to where I'm at now. It's just different levels, and it's because you have the guy for such a small amount of time. And in particular, the quarterbacks. You only got them for 1 year. I had both my quarterback this past year. I had them for 1 year, and now they're both gone. So it's kind of like you don't get that rapport you get at a 4-year school, whether you're at the high school, D2, or Division I level. So the big thing this time is you see circumstances. When you get a JUCO kid, there's a lot of different issues and different circumstances that they're going through that really pertains to unique to them, whether it be some kind of educational reason, some kind of family reason, whatever it may be. You're dealing with different circumstances than you're probably dealing with a 4-year university. Make things simple. I'm an air raid guy by nature, but I'll tell you, we led the conference in rushing. We had the number 2 running back in the nation this past year, and we had 3 All-Americans on the line, so we ran the ball. And making it simple, play actions, intermediate pass game, how to take our shots, something not over complex, the playbook, and put too much on the quarterback. Find things to be efficient, find things to be simple. Don't make things difficult in all these complex reads. And we go back to being efficient and being flexible. Again, you're dealing with a player that most offensive coaches will tell you always was build around your team, build through your quarterback. Either you play through your quarterback, you play around your quarterback. And it just kind of depends. I think I kind of had a tale of 2 seasons this past year. I had a running quarterback that was more mobile, who was kind of he was probably a single read type guy, and he would take off and he was elusive. There's the guy who finished the season was more of a, progression read, drop back quarterback. So we kind of had to work around both my quarterbacks at one point in time. So that, as you kind of see through the film, you'll kind of see multiple quarterbacks kind of going and see the dynamic of it all. And then relationship, you only have a small window to make these relationships. You don't have 4 years, you don't have 5 years. You have 1 to 2 years at best. You've got to make that relation, you've got to make that impact quick, fast, and build that rapport so you can kind of take. The biggest thing I've always told me, and that's kind of always stuck with me, is they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And when you kind of establish that right there quick, especially with that quarterback in particular, we have those who coach quarterbacks, they can be so up and down. Their mentals are, especially with the generation kids today, you always got to kind of think about how am I projecting this, how are they taking it, how can we make sure it's getting through to them and keep them rolling. And then develop. You got a lot of raw products, and since the transfer portal, we've actually gotten more qualifiers, more guys that are probably under-recruited that kind of you wouldn't necessarily have gotten previously, but they're just raw products. And once you get that raw product put together, you kind of get it situated, I think that's kind of where you kind of have to be in more of that developmental stage, which is that kind of, that didn't help me from coming from the high school ranks. recently, and I'm back here now, help me understand that I had to develop that raw problem. And then motivate. That's the one thing that you don't have to, I feel like you still have to motivate every kid, but you don't have to do it as much as the JC. Because this is it's last chance you for a reason. It ain't no, secret about it. They know this is it. And a lot of them, with the transfer portal, the bounce backs and all that, they know they've already been to some of the top Division I schools, and now they ain't nothing pretty at JUCO level. It ain't nothing pretty there. So they understand that you just got to continue motivating. And I think it's just feed that fuel to their fire and help find, you kind of already know what makes them tick because they want to get out of here. Now you just got to feed it, fuel it, and keep them rolling with it. So a little bit of how my practice game schedule looks like is right here. All right, kind of how we go to develop a practice schedule. As you can see, we hit perimeter every day. Perimeter is a staple because you gotta be able to stretch the field, whether I'm throwing the ball side to side or running the ball side to side. It's a staple. Every day we do that as far as it goes. It comes right out of pre-cal, so we jump right into it. It's good on good. It had nothing to do with what the defense is doing that week or what we're going to see against the offense, the fault, vice versa. We just go good on good and trying to get to the perimeter. And this past year, we had the number one defense. I think in the conference, they were number 4 or 3 in the nation. So we had a pretty good team to go against every week. All right, and then we go, you saw those pocket drills, one-on-one little indies, 7-on-7, offense, defense, and broken into team and what we're going to be, particularly game plan against that week. Kind of some drills here, just our everyday drills. And a lot of us, we have those guys that are redshirt or, as JUCO, some of them not even getting, the position drills are going to switch. We're going to have so many limited coaches. So I'll take the tight ends with me quite a bit. I'm a tight end driven guy. You'll see a lot of what I do is 11 personnel, 12 personnel, and I can get it, and I can make that 20 to 10 just by using that tight end. And I love tight ends. That's why I have them with me all the time. Just work on their hands. I'm sitting here, I'm telling them 1, 2, and 3. The progression is 1, 2, and 3. That's when at the top of that route, at the top of that drill is when I tell them. So they know they gotta flip their hips, throw it right then and there, work on their footwork, in and out of their cuts. Similar here. More pocket present drill, you can't see from behind them or from in front of them. It's going to be, again, a similar drop. So if I'm working on a specific pass concept, I'm moving where I expect that ball to be at certain points. So whether it's a dig, or it's a post, or it's a hitch, or it's wherever that particular route is, I'm yelling 1, 2, 3, knowing what progression they're going through based on what cone they're going towards. So they'll work on their footwork, understand the progression, and they're waiting for me to say that's what's going to happen. Just kind of helps with that. And then this year, I only had one quarterback go through the spring, so these are all brand new babies. They transferred in, I had one transfer in, the others were all true freshmen. So brand new babies going through it. Little pocket drill, same similar situation, keeping them tight in that pocket, better move, keep your eyes downfield, whatever number I say, 1, 2, or 3. The objective is stay in that circle. And then we watch the film after practice, you just stay in the circle. Why? Because your feet were tight, you're overextended, you're not coming to balance, and that's the big word I use a lot, is coming to balance. You gotta come to balance, because you're not always making a balance throw, but we strive to be perfect. So that's kind of where we're at there. Similar thing here. Roll out drill, again, it's our boot. Have a near, I'm yelling a number. Having at base out of one of my favorite concepts, the flood concept. You'll see that later on here in a minute. And they're already in positions of where they'll be, 1, 2, or 3, what's open, and what progression we're going for. And sometimes progression, our number one progression may change based off what we see that week, or what we've done previously that we know they're going to defense in the game plan, so we know that we hit this particular route, this particular concept of progression, that's going to be the second read this week. Just how we change it up to keep the defense honest by all looks the same, but now our primary changes. So it just kind of works there. Yeah, we work on off-balance throws. A lot of times we run the flood concept, they jump the 10-yard out, and that gets wide open. And we missed it so many times. So what I'm really trying to work on is how can we get that deep ball off-balance throw, change the launch point, and get the ball to him right there. All right, so here, kind of our intermediate. One of our favorite plays that goes right here is our zone beater. It's one of my favorite zone beaters right here. And I love the tight end. You see right here, the tight end. We do a lot with the tight end. And as you see, they started running towards the tight end. End up leaving two guys in the middle. Really, what you see here, what ended up being wrong is the inside receiver right there should have got to the hash. He getting the hash, open up the window for the curl backside. All right, so that's where you're kind of getting that window. He sat right there, ended up kind of getting in the curl window. Just having we still got that ball off right there, but that's we should get a little bit wider, a little tighter on that hash. Basic simple zone concept, one of our go-tos out of any, and we do have many different formations, personnels, but again, one of my favorites with the tight end. All right. Now, goes back to the pass here. Got a little mixed up right there. Yeah, here's our flood concept. We just tagged the post. So it's our flood, we set it on the fade, the Z's got the post, and we're right here running the 10, we're trying to aim for that 10-yard out. Two high looks, we're taking that post, your job is take two. Take that safety out the way, we're trying to get this 10-yard out and put this flat defender in a bind. And it's just based on matchups. We do, this nickel cannot hold our inside receiver. We're running 4-3, so I do right now, all I gotta do is get him space. And put him right there. So just kind of a basic flood concept that we like out of that. This was at the championship game right here. And we saw a lot of off front. I don't know what you may see, but we saw a lot of off front this year. A lot of defenses go into that, trying to be multiple, bring different blitzes, trying to confuse it, quarterback and the offensive line. We saw that right here. This is one of my favorite two-man beaters. This is what we saw quite a bit as we got further into the season. This was the playoff game against Trinity Valley. We saw a lot of two-man, so we had to find a way to two-man beat right here. And really, it was actually run a little bit slightly wrong. The number 3 receiver should have gotten about 9 yards, 8 to 9 yards. He was rubbing that 10-yard dig coming in. So what's ends up happening is if he goes right here and that 10-yard dig goes in and rubs that defender, so basically a down the field rub, and we hit that 10-yard out. I'm trying to get the ball to the 4-3 guy at the run. But it kind of worked itself out. We still, end up opening up the two-man beat. Got the dig behind it. 3rd and 11, big play. Move the chains. Edge protection on it right here. Here's another downfield shot. One of my favorite downfields. I love going trips and boundary. We're trying to find where you put your nickel. Do you put your straight to the field? Do you put your straight to the boundary? And that's one of the things that I got from Zach Finley at Texas Tech is that you got to where to find that overhang and where do they like to put the strength at. In this case, they put the strength to the field. So we're going to overload the boundary, run our field to the boundary. But we ran the ball so much to the field that stretch-wise, they had to put that overhang over there. So that really helped us put trips to the boundary. And what we call our Husky concept. We got a post, fade, essentially a 10-yard out. And even though he got kind of jammed up and didn't get a pretty release off the ball, but he ended up getting enough to get open and pull those defenders and get the first down. Again, and that's another situation. We went a tray over, unbalanced look with tight end. Tight end's dead, but they're worried about us going stretch one way or the other. And there's one thing that it comes into play that, obviously, through the pass game, we'll get to the run game here in a minute, but I am definitely, from an air raid standpoint, we're trying to get that ball going. One of my favorite two-man cover two beaters on the 3-by-1 concept. We were playing this team. They were playing multiple Ds. They were playing cover 2 on the backside. They were playing like on the man free or cover 3 backside. I'll turn up to the boundary rather. So all we run is what we call like our spot concepts, little switch spot right there with the corner. And that was our true freshman quarterback right there. We should have thrown a little bit sooner. But it was just one of those things that we knew we would hit him right there. It was kind of our cover 2 beater. It worked itself out. You can't see it, you'll see it on the next clip as far as our play action game. This is kind of what we really, our downfield shots. Again, like I told you about being simple with these quarterbacks. We ran the ball to protect it. I had only one quarterback who probably wasn't the most talented as far as throwing, as being arm talent, but was more mobile. He was the whole spring. The rest of them, transfer guy went us conference, he didn't go through spring rep, so it was kind of where I had to find ways to play around the quarterback, and not necessarily through the quarterback until later in the season. So this is where we run our power play action right here, and have the guy pull up. They got aggressive, end up throwing a touchdown right here, middle field C. So you kind of see a better how it looks right here as far as protection is concerned. Looks like Powell pulled the guard. Really looks like Powell read. And that play right there was a big staple for us this year. Going back to the downfield action. Out of our 10 personnel look. About 49, you just seam switch. Two guys running, one going to cross seam, another one's going to like a post, and you're having this guy right here. You find that middle void, trying to get that cover three, put him in a bind. He knows right now that if I can't beat him, or y'all see him on the grass, I sit. The zone, I'm going to sit right there in the window. This man, I'm going to keep running. You know, it's simple things that we can execute. It's not overly exotic, but again, you having guys for 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, if you're lucky, and they're gone. All right, so here's one of my favorite play actions. This is what we call our stretch play action. And we end up, I love starting off the trick play early. And my big thing with trick plays is it's gotta look like what you do on any given play. You know, you can't have exotic trick plays. I mean, exotic plays for fun and the kids love it, but if you really want to, I feel like you want to be successful with it, make it look like every play you do and make it look like a real play. In this case right here, we just put a simple play action, have the running back run up in the red zone, touchdown. So it's our throwback. You'll see I'll run this exact play in one formations out of 11 and 12. And because I've thrown that throwback early in the season, everybody's watching it. You'll kind of see how we end up kind of tweaking a few routes here and there. It's the same action, same route, and how it opens up every damn deep because of that one throwback. And even if it isn't there, I just throw it in, just throw it about. I want the defense to honor it so I can work the middle of the field later. So like in this case right here, we ran it. You see number 5 from TJC, he's pretty good linebacker. He runs off running with him. Well, if you look back inside, he comes stop fair in the middle. Our number 1 receiver was All-American, led the conference in return and punt and kickoff yards. He's running the dig. But because they're so concerned with the running back coming out in the flat, on that throwback, they decided wide open. Looks the exact same. Use a trick play to open up something on a normal situation that we would do. Kind of just from a protection standpoint. Again, same scenario. But this time we know we've hit the over, we hit the throwback, we already hit the side of the seam. Now here comes, we made the first read progression and over route. You'll see here. Same look, now the over route's wide open. See the side of the field. So just kind of game plan protection wise, we know we self-scout. It's not just I think percentages and what you are on first down and what you are on second down and this, that, and the other. That's great, and I think that's important. But it's also what were you successful on that play, and how can I use that play again to make it look the exact same thing, we now change our read in that situation. And I say, just for that week, we're looking, okay, we hit this, then we know that they saw it, they know they're going to game plan against it, so let's look at that other options, they can't cover everything. And I think that's where that's what I do, is we try to refocus on when it comes to this particular plays, especially at this level, we only got them for so long. How do we just make the defense have to guess what we're doing? They know it's coming. Now they're guessing what we're going to hit. But for the offense, nothing changes. A route maybe here or there, but it makes it a lot more efficient in executing play. Now here's our pop. Again, everything we like to do is fast motion. We love fast motion. We love making the defense have to check, especially again at this level. You can only teach your defense so much as well that they're going through the same thing that we're going through on offense. Is you only got them for so long, so we start trying to make them have to communicate on movement. In our pop, it's the same way, no different than what we do as far as our play action. It's the same with that stretch. When we do this one is that we have two options that we have. It ain't just a one read and you throw. You have the fast motion option, you can have the tight end option. All right, this is the championship game against New Mexico Military. And as you can see with the fast motion, you see the motions are turned to a bubble and nobody taking it. So we go for the tight end. So what he's told right here is to understand that if that mic or that blitz is on, I'm bending it in right now. And so we already know it's cover one, so it's kind of self-explanatory. You know that you turn your head quick, the ball's going to be on you fast, and get ready for that hit. But if that guy ends up blitzing, gets to the open gap, replace the backer, and go ahead and bend it in. Should have scored right there. Kind of a look right here as we see. Similar, same thing. Now we use motion from the slot right here. Fake stretch, have that bubble pop come out, make them honor it. The big thing is we want to mess with your eyes. I think that's the biggest thing we really want to do. Is how do we mess with your eyes? How can we sit here and say, make you have to look one way and do it? And I think that's every offensive coordinator does that to just about every defense, but at this level, you really want those defense to start communicating. If you just line up and play, you're kind of at yourself to failure. And I say setting yourself up for failure in that situation. So how do we make them have to honor every little thing? So then you can see it right there. So again, same exact play that we ran throughout the season. We get to our bowl game, and tight end, in this case, the tight end should go to the tight end, but we expected them to cover it. So the quarterback, he said he told me when I talked to him about it, he was like, Coach, I thought he was a little too close. I didn't want to get smashed. So I threw it to the bubble. That means nobody takes the bubble. And it'd be a big play for us. I say that it'll be holding on that play, but it should have been a big play. Again, we don't want to overcomplicate it at this level because it's just, again, you reiterate it, you don't have a whole lot of time. You got to get as much you can get in and be efficient. And how can we execute the same play multiple ways to make the defense have to decide where we're going to go. Nobody took the damn bubble throughout the whole time we watched the play, so we go into this bowl game and say, hey, if you don't like it, hit that bubble immediately. Good thing it worked out. Other than holding call. Yeah, similar to screen game. Love screen game. I love double screens and what you've done off. For whatever reason, I could not. We had a tunnel screen that we ran often and was successful at it. It was scoring in our playoff game. However, the film came out all janky and I couldn't put it up there. But we ran a lot. It happened to be that every time we tunnel screen and we did something good on it, I couldn't ever put it for a back. The cut was mixed up. So I couldn't, but we ran a lot of tunnel screens up top. So you see right here, we ran a lot of tunnel screens right there, made people honor it, and then we come back and hit the running back. That was kind of a big play because we had to find ways. They're stopping the tunnel screen. They ran once and they got getting picked. So I was like, all right, we got to figure something out. We can play off this tunnel screen and still get them out the back door. But it kind of worked out here. Same play at Navarro. This time we kind of get not motion the receiver, this time motion the tight end. So we move the tight end, which is what we do a lot in our run game. So now you're kind of feeling like it's some type of run. All right, so you see that back coming blitzing, you know, that odd front, you're gonna have at least somebody, you're gonna have 4 man coming up some every given time, if not more. Maybe like tunnel screens, you run a lot of tunnel that very same way. Getting out the back door with the running back coming out. Now our read, if you know someone maybe asking, is really, so our read is at end. So we see that end jet up, we know, okay, if that end jets up, I gotta throw it to the back. If that end stays flat or you know, ends up not coming upfield, then we throw the tunnel right there. Because we like, and right now we tell our guys, it's you, the number one receiver, against the damn Mike backer. Go make a play in space. You know, we leave a lot to our athletes to make that play with one-on-one. You know, everybody has a matchup one-on-one. Our thing is we want to get our guys in space, give them a chance to make that play one-on-one, because what we said, we recruited you to make that play, not to get tackled by one guy. Which, now, for what I read as a coordinator on this play, is that my backer. So the quarterback reading his end, I'm reading this my backer. That my backer, so if I'm looking at him influencing him, he's the one he's the unblocked man on that running back screen. So that my backer, if I'm looking at purple, you need to look at that tunnel screen until you know I'm not throwing it. And then influence that my backer with your eyes and get that extra defender right there for you. Because he's the one that fucks up every time that running back screen. Because for whatever reason, I can never get all line in the block. But if I influence him, get out the way, I can use quarterback size to block. He's got a better look from the drone. This is our run game. So here's, I don't know why those screens, this must have made stuff on that. I already did it. But here's my favorite run game. I showed them a couple. Any questions on the pass game before I move to the run game? Because to be honest, as much as I love my pass stuff, I know that we ran the hell out of this ball. And I'm an air raid game by nature, so it hurt me a little bit, but it actually worked out for us in the long run with our play actions. Good on that? All right, so here's some of my favorite run plays that we ran this year that were effective for us. This was